I don't know how this video is going to go. I really don't. I wish I had the answers. It might get ugly. It might not. I don't know. But things are going to be said today. When it regards to Nick Sirianni, the Philly media, all that surrounding this team. But other than that, we have a mock trade, a few things that Adam Schefter said for the secondary for the Philadelphia Eagles, which I'm very excited about. You know, actual football-related stuff that would be nice for one day, but we're going to get into the other stuff as well. Let's get into it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
You know what I'm tired of? I'm tired of everyone giving their 2 cents. You know, I feel like we live in a world now where it's everybody's got to give their opinion because everyone has a right to, and I totally agree with that 100%. Sometimes I'm just tired of hearing what everybody has to say. You know, I'm just tired of it at this point. And all of this really concludes the end of the season for the Philadelphia Eagles this past year, and I have never seen a quarterback get attacked so much for such a bad, crumbling season that I've ever seen in my life. The kingdom fell down after 10-1, okay? And it's really hard for me, at least for my own opinion about the whole subject of Jalen Hurts, and he should have did this, and he should have did that, and everyone thinks that Jalen Hurts has all this control in all these situations. Okay, it was already enough. Okay, we heard news the last from Carson, or that bald-headed prick that we heard from, saying that he wouldn't even explain, that there was issues in the locker room, all this dysfunction, all this stuff going on, but there was no receipts for what he was talking about, which somebody that Adam Schefter knew within the organization that he texted. And someone said, yeah, none of that shit happened. Just Philadelphia. The Philadelphia media, man, is just, man. I don't know how bad it can get, but it's bad, dude. I'm like dying for this team to win a championship at this point, so everybody could shut their mouth, but it doesn't matter because as soon as something juicy happens, this little tiny thing that happens, one person says something, the next person, the story changes, the next person, the story changes once again. It's like you hear a rumor about somebody and the story changes as it gets to the next person every single time. Okay, now this revolves around Nick Sirianni, and you know what? I've been so not giving a shit about Nick since the season ended, especially the press conference with Howie Roseman, where one of the beat writers actually asked Nick what his job will be this year. I mean, and he had really nothing to say. You're telling me that Nick Sirianni is here just to keep the culture above water? I mean, that's all he's here for. There's no other reason why he is here. He can't have his own playbook. He can't get involved in the offense because it's going to be a total fail. And now I have to worry that next year could be a wasted year because of this prick of a head coach that we have right now. Because I feel like Nick Sirianni has no value. None. I don't know why is he here? Okay? Now, Derek Gunn had some things to say, some nits and bits, okay, about a certain situation that caused the Eagles, not only the players giving up on the coaches, but Nick Sirianni and what happened through the times of the last 7 weeks, okay? And Derek Gunn said this. He said, according to sources, Jalen, big contract, pulled in numerous directions. On, off field, put him under a lot of pressure. He didn't handle well. Big Dom suspended. Control Sirianni's emotions on sideline. In his absence, Nick gets in numerous arguments with players, coaches during games. Is it this bad to where Nick can't control himself? Does Nick need a therapist during games? Because half the time he's either pissed off, at least the last 7 weeks, he was either pissed off, he was walking up and down the sideline with his arms, it's like, with it, making that face that he makes at the camera. And then we have to go into a post-game press conference where he's making absolutely no sense and giving us every excuse in the book, not being humble about himself, saying the dumb answers as in, we've been calling the same offense like we had the last few years. I'm not changing play calling. We had no answer. How is your quarterback supposed to succeed? And when those big leaks came out that Hurts was meeting with Nick Sirianni every single week, because usually the head coach meets with the player every week. And when Jalen Hurts had an idea to change the offense, Nick Sirianni was so fucking passive about it. Nick would just be like, nope, we're going to do it my way. Jalen Hurts would be like, hey, let's do some more intermediate routes. Somebody that's very close to Jalen Hurts did say that these meetings would happen every week, especially the last 7 weeks or through the season, okay? And Nick would throw away Jalen Hurts' ideas. There was a big, quote-unquote, disconnect between Jalen Hurts to Brian Johnson, Nick Sirianni, and the rest of the offensive coaching staff, okay? Goes to show you, like, if the chips are going to fall, I don't blame Jalen Hurts by saying, you know what? I don't even give a fuck at this point. If I can't have my own say of what we should be doing and they won't change what we're doing and we keep losing this way, you've seen it, guys. You've seen the players giving up passively. You've seen the body language. You didn't see a resilient team. You saw guys like just giving up after a team scored on us. Like, you see it on the field. You see that things are not changing. Now I have to worry about going into this year that Nick Sirianni is not going to pull his shit that he is always trying to pull. As much as he had, and I totally believe this because I feel like Nick Sirianni definitely doesn't have control when it comes to the roster that was the coaches that were hired. I really believe that he had no hand in the roster hirings at all. The coaching hire. I'm saying roster. Coaching hirings with Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore. Okay. It's just making me nervous right now that Nick is going to sneak his way in back into the offensive room with Kellen Moore, and he's going to pitch Kellen Moore some things, or that quietly and behind the scenes that Nick Sirianni is going to slowly take over this offense once again and waste another fucking year. You know me. I don't walk on eggshells when it comes to coaches, when it comes to players. I am the real deal when it comes to just in the moment explaining and just getting this out on the table, because I am not going through what I fucking went through last year again. If I don't see one dominant game this year, it's going to be a problem. There's no excuse. Nick Sirianni at that press conference with Howie Roseman, remember he was saying to all the beat writers and the fans, looking directly into the camera and saying, oh yeah, I want to bring in an offensive coordinator that has control and, that it will be his offense. And then another moment saying, oh, this isn't the coordinator's offense. This isn't the coordinator's defense. This is the Philadelphia's offense. This is the Philadelphia Eagles defense. And then says, oh, I want to bring in a coordinator that can bring some ideas. Like, no, bro. Nobody is fucking bringing in ideas for you. We're bringing in somebody that is taking over this offense. Which you have no part of anymore. Because if I even see that now Kellen Moore is going to be the next fucking scapegoat, I am going to flip my shit. I'm not kidding. This isn't a joke anymore. The window is open and it's there, and we're just wasting it year after year after year. It's just to a point now where, what is Nick's job? What is he doing here? if he's not, just say he's not calling plays. Why is Nick even coaching? Why is he making a head coach salary? What is his job? Because I am telling you right now, we will, because us fans are not stupid. The 10 plays they have in their fucking playbook that they had last year, we see one bubble screen, I see one 70-yard pass on second, third, and short. Trust me, shit is going to hit the fan. If the Eagles lose the first 3 out of their 4 games, whether they're playing in Brazil or not, I don't give a shit. Okay? I think, and you know what? I think part of it, the Kellen Moore hiring, is because I think he will be the replacement for Nick Sirianni. Yes, I know that there's coaches out there. We just had 2 coaches, okay? At least in the playoffs, okay? Even coaches that are hands-on, coaches that are hands-off, you know, you have those different types of guys. The way to test your head coach, when things are going good, you want to see how your head coach keeps your guys uplifted throughout the season. And I think Nick Sirianni is one of those really big motivational speakers. I think he's one of those guys that could definitely uplift the roster and keep the guys chugging along. But when shit hits the fan, that's where you test your head coach. When the season is just you're losing the season by your fingertips. Okay? By your fingertips. And you want to see how this coach could turn ourselves around. And I wasn't impressed. Between no adjustments, same play calling, dumb-ass answers at press conferences, post-game press conferences, and him looking more miserable every day than I ever witnessed in a head coach. I mean, seriously, dude. Even if you choked away at 10-1, even say 4 or 5 weeks down the road, you still had a playoff game to play, and you looked like you didn't even want to coach anymore. So hopefully Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman did the great thing and said, you know what? Let's give Nick Sirianni the ultimatum that we gave Doug Peterson. Either you fire your coordinators and hire new blood to come in here and help out, or you're going to get fired. And Nick did the opposite of what Doug did, and Nick said, sure, I will fire my coordinators. So he fired his guys. He's used the scapegoat shit on Brian Johnson. Matt Patricia, Sean Desai, fired. And to be honest with you, the Eagles have done a lot more with this coaching staff than I would have ever expected them to. Okay? I figured we would have 2 new coordinators, but at the same time, how does your quarterback get better? You're switching coordinators every fucking year. There is no stability because, I'm sorry, if you lose a coordinator, if you lost Shane Steichen a couple years ago, Nick had, as a head coach, and Colin Cowherd actually said this past year. Okay, when you lose a coordinator, your team shouldn't look this different. Okay, when you at least lose a coordinator, it's like, man, Nick had no idea how to run this offense. Was around Shane Steichen the whole year. Your golden child left. The golden boy left Philadelphia that only kept this offense from being a complete mess of what we thought was never going to happen and turn into with Brian Johnson coming in as the OC. But unfortunately, Nick shouldn't. He should have kept a play structure. I mean, seriously, you have tape to watch from Shane Steichen in 22, and you brought none of that to this offense. You've wasted talent. You've wasted Nolan Smith for 1 year. Jalen Carter could have had a bigger year. HaasonReddick should have had a bigger year. Jordan Davis was tired as hell. Rotation was a fucking mess. It's bad. It is worse than we ever expected it to be. You know what? The media has every right to do whatever they want to do. But you're telling me that Big Dom is like, what, Nick's fucking therapist? Like, he's the one that stops Nick from having arguments with his player. There's nothing wrong with. I wanted Nick to be more emotional with his players on the sideline. Doug Peterson did it when he had to, and because the camera is on him in this new age, when the camera is on you and another player or a coach are having a little bit of an argument, which is just in the moment type stuff, which happens in every game to every team, but because when it's on camera, everybody's got to paint a bad picture of it, more of what it is. You know, but is Nick that... Is Nick Sirianni honestly that immature? I mean, is it gotten to that point now where it's like, is he really run? I mean, I think this is a hot seat year. It has to be. The one thing, like I said earlier in this video, the one thing I'm afraid of is Nick crawling his way back to play calling, or crawling his way back to make a whole playbook of Nick Sirianni's game plan, and Kellen Moore is going to throw some different things in there. I'm telling you right now, shame on Howie and shame on Jeffrey Lurie if that happens again. I don't think it's going to happen again. I think the media is really just trying to rile us up right now and get us pissed off, and it's obviously working because I hate hearing shit like this. Like, we're a week away from the combine, we're a few weeks away from the tampering period, and this fucking shit is still talked about. The more I hear about it, the more pissed off I get, and especially because Nick is still here, and trust me, I'm not on the Nick Sirianni train anymore until, like, I see major changes. Until he can prove that he doesn't have to be involved in shit. Because he shouldn't. Be a motivational speaker. Be a cheerleader at this point. That's all you got to do. That's all I want him to do. Simple as that. He better hope that these players aren't going to give up on him easily when things start going down south. Kellen Moore's not the rah-rah type coach. Okay, he's not. But he's smart and knows how to put his players in position to win football games. And Vic Fangio is one of the most highly respected coaches for years. A scheme that I'm not in favor of that much, but you know, if I want this scheme and it has to be this scheme, the best man for the job is in the building for that scheme. We're going to find out if the philosophy has changed. We're going to find out from roster building standpoint to making crazy changes. And I think those changes are coming. But Nick Sirianni, not comfortable with him being a head coach right now. Not comfortable that he's going to be on the sideline for the Philadelphia Eagles this year. Because I'm afraid he's going to get too involved. And when that happens, goodbye season. We don't have one dominant game. Goodbye season. I need to see it with my own two eyes. I want to see domination. I want to see a team get massacred by us. I need to see more than I did last year. Comebacks are fine. Wins are wins at the end of the day. But if you can't dominate one team all season with all the fucking weapons that you had this past season, it's going to be a problem. It baffles my mind. Nick had too many young coaches around him. There's nobody that could have took over the play calling. There's nobody that could have done anything. But Nick got cocky and conceited after 22 and said, oh, I could call the plays. I could do everything. He says he knows the Philly fans, but, you know, he goes to Gino's Steakhouse. I mean, seriously, Philly cheesesteak joint. Why? I mean, seriously. Fucking tourist at this point. So I just don't see value in Nick being here. I haven't. After the season ended, I was done with Nick. I was done. Like, I was pretty much like, man, if he leaves, I honestly don't give a shit. Super Bowl appearance or not, if Doug can get run out of town, being the first ever Super Bowl winning head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles for their first Lombardi Trophy championship. Firing Nick will be no issue. The ultimatum was there, and Nick made his decision. And I really hope he doesn't get involved, because all these moves that are happening could be for nothing. And I'm going to try to keep that in the back of my head. I'm going to try to forget about it, let it go through. I'm stubborn, okay? Because I remember shit. I don't let shit go that easily when it comes to football-related stuff. Stuff that's bad that's happening. The media is making it worse right now, but man, it's like, it takes so much out of me, dude. I'm like, I'm ready for the combine. I'm ready for free agency. I'm ready for the draft. And then all this garbage diarrhea bullshit flies out of here, and it's just like, man, way to kill my spirits this offseason. It's nuts. Fucking throat's dry. I've talked enough about this already. I've had a good day today. And then I see all this shit today, and it's just simmering and simmering and simmering inside myself. And I'm like, man, I am tired of hearing this shit. This team needs to win a championship so fucking bad. And my God, man, we need a stable coaching environment. Especially for this fucking quarterback. Please, God, please, is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So that's the news on Nick Sirianni. That's the news on what Derek Gunn put out. Anything that Derek Gunn does put out, it's legit. I mean, he's not the type of guy that lies about too much stuff. I could definitely believe that. I think Sirianni lost himself. There's no doubt. And it just got worse over time. Now, we talk about the Philadelphia, to good news, right? We talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. We talk about certain things that will help us with this secondary. And Adam Schefter does think that the Eagles are going to make some changes to the secondary. Yes, obviously, but regarding our roster, there are going to be a lot of changes. You have a lot of depth at cornerback. You have a lot of flash at cornerback right now. Isaiah Rodgers coming back. You got Keely Ringo. You got Eli Ricks. You got all these cornerbacks that have had some starting experience. Guys have gotten some playing time. But Vic Fangio wants to get his own guys. And will they draft a corner in the first round, or do they go a different direction? Now, I feel like if you sign a mid-tier signing, it just really depends. You're looking for your number one corner of the future, really realistically, when Slay is only here, for another year or two. And then, Bradbury is most likely going to get cut at this point, and I don't think they trust anybody enough in their secondary right now that hasn't had too much time between an undrafted free agent and Eli Ricks last year. Now, see, Keely Ringo was just drafted last year, so, how much do they put into that? I think they want more of a proven talent, let these guys compete in the offseason, do some good things, but he thinks that there's going to be a huge upgrade in the secondary. If they're upgrading the secondary, it's got to be a future number one. I don't think they're paying Surtain. I don't think they're paying L'Jarius Sneed. I just don't see them going down that rabbit hole. I'd be shocked. There's too many holes on our defense to be paying a cornerback that much money. In my opinion, it's just way too much as of right now. There's been a mock trade for Marlon Humphrey, which is really interesting. He is a big cap casualty for the Ravens. 27, 28 years old. Still got a lot of juice left. Good coverage guy. Still, could play for a team immediately. If you want him to compete, what if the Eagles don't want to go after a corner in the draft? They want to get a proven talent for this year and say, screw it. Let's attack the secondary and free agency, and let's go after some more trench guys in free agency, and let's go after more in the draft with a first round and 2 second-round picks. Now, a mock trade here was a great example of that, and this wouldn't be really too bad where the Eagles would receive Marlon Humphrey, and they would have to give up a 24 fifth-round pick. Now, the Eagles have 4 fifth-round picks. They're not going to use all 4 of the 5th rounds, okay? They're not using all 4 of the 5th-round picks. It's not going to happen. So, obviously, if that's all it's going to cost, I don't know. Maybe I would like it a little bit more. Does he fit Vic Fangio's system? We'll see. But he's aggressive. He attacks really well. Great tackler. He's been in the league a while, so you're getting a savvy vet at cornerback. You get Bradbury out of there. Would this be a good deal for the Eagles? I mean, I would take this trade. I mean, for a 5th-round pick, it's not bad at all. I mean, you'll have him for what? Maybe he's got 3 years left on his contract as of right now. 3 years. I just remember that because I was just thinking to myself, wait, how many years? Yeah. Oh yeah, he's got 3 years left on his contract. And I think the numbers can be obviously worked out, if they want to change some things, whatever the case may be with that. So if they want somebody for the next few years, once they hit that, 30-year-old age, then they maybe move on. So it's going to be interesting to see, do the Eagles have the guts, the cojones to go into the draft in the first round and get a guy that can produce as the future number one and kind of pair him up with Slade for the year? And, as much as he's going to produce for us this year, whoever we draft in the first round, if it is a cornerback, we'll be with Slade and see what happens. Or do they want to go another route, which I feel like the Eagles don't want to go corner in the first round as much as the mock drafts or, Daniel Jeremiah is mocking every damn first round corner to the Eagles at this point. Okay, at 22, or if the Eagles move up a couple spots or something like that, I feel the Eagles want to attack more positions, which I definitely agree with. They should, because they don't have linebackers, they don't have safety. Maybe they do trade for a cornerback at a mid-tier price. Maybe they pay the highest guy, which I just don't feel like that's going to happen with Snead and some of these other guys, Jalen Johnson, or I don't know, from the Bears, or I have no idea. I just don't think they're going down that rabbit hole of paying a cornerback so much money where they can trade for a guy that fits the scheme. Okay? I feel like Vic Fangio will have his high price guy, and then I'll feel like he's going to have his system guy that only works good in Vic Fangio's system when Vic Fangio knows how to use players to their success. Those are the two types of players back and forth that you're going to see. You sign a high-priced linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles, and then you go after and trade for Marlon Humphrey. That will fit in this system really well. You never know. Deshaun Elliott at safety. There's guys that will fit. Andrew Van Ginkel, 29 years old, playing linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles, at not much of an expensive price because he is a little bit more up there in age, but will be worth it because he will fit the system really well. Was successful with Vic Fangio when he was in Miami last season. So I think those are the two types of players defensively they're trying to get. Guys that either fit the scheme or guys that are high profile or mid-tier, depending on, where they are, whether it's depth, whether it's being a starter, whatever the case may be with that. So, for a trade like this, I wouldn't actually mind doing it because I don't know if the Eagles are going all in the first round to draft a cornerback. I don't know if they're going to do that. I think they want to produce immediately. I don't think they don't want to waste any time. This team is Super Bowl bound if they get their shit together at the cornerback spot, and we'll see what happens. A lot going on here, but hopefully we get our shit together with that. So I think there's a lot of different combinations they could do. And I feel like this is the route they're going to go. Not Marlon Humphrey, not saying, this trade, specifically because it's just a mock trade at the end of the day. But I think they will get a guy in the building that could start immediately. And, depending what the market's going to look like for corners, it's always climbing up most of the time. We'll see what happens. If they throw money at a cornerback, especially high profile, I'll be shocked over it. And if they do that, that means they have a lot under their belt right now regarding the linebacker to the safety spot. We'll just have to see. Because at the end of the day, cornerback looks really good right now, except James Bradbury is just somebody we just don't want here anymore. I don't think he fits in Vic Fangio's scheme. And obviously, the pass rush in 22 made him made him look really good. Makes any corner look good when your pass rush can get to the quarterback within 3 seconds. Trust me. And I think, Bradbury still has, nightmares of what happened in the Super Bowl. I think he's got some PTSD going on with himself that really, and sometimes players like Aaron Sipos, our punter, man, that middle punt that KC brought back for that touchdown in the Super Bowl, man. Like, he was affected by that mentally for a long time after that game. James Bradbury might not be the same player he used to be, or maybe he wasn't a great player at all. Maybe, I look, there were times where the Eagles didn't get pressure and Bradbury was a lot better in 22, but something happened between that Super Bowl and now. Let me tell you, it's either he's got an issue within himself, or I don't know, or he's just not playing well under a new contract, and definitely could be extended and cut and move on. So it's going to be a lot of decisions that have to be made soon. We'll see what happens, but want to know from you guys what you think of what the Eagles will do at corner. Do you think they are going to get a guy that's already, capable, going to trade for them most likely? Do they sign one to a high-price free agent, or do you think they go into the draft and sign one in the first round? Do you think they actually produce somebody for once, which the Eagles haven't done that in the first round in years? Or do you, agree with Derek on his comments about Nick Sirianni? Just all of this dysfunction with Nick and what he brings to the table, and do you ever get afraid of that he's gonna sneak his way back into the game plan and not gonna let Kellen Moore take over this offense 100%? It's gonna be one of the biggest problems we have, and I hope it's not another wasted year, and I really hope not. So. Other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. Sorry about the rant. It's a long video. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. Appreciate everybody that's supporting and commenting and doing all that great stuff very much. Guys, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next time. Hopefully it's better news than bad news or non-dysfunctional shit. You guys have a great day. I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes what up, falls like. Peace out, guys. Peace.